Hey guys, so this is a tutorial on least common multiple and greatest common factor. This is typically a 6th grade task. I'm going to focus on a couple different ways of finding the least common multiple. 2 ways, the listing method and the prime factorization / Venn diagram method. The second way that I'm going to show you, the one I just cited earlier, was mainly a good approach to also find the greatest common factor. The listing method for the least common multiple is good, but it only works for the LCM. It's not going to help you find the greatest common factor. So I'm going to show you both ways, but let's come up with an example here. Let's say I'm looking for the least common multiple between 9 and 12. Remember, least common multiple means what multiple does both 9 and 12 have in common, but it's the smallest one that they have in common. We don't look for the greatest common multiple, because the greatest common multiple would be somewhere in infinity, right? Eternity, that you can't find one. It's too far out. So we're going to look for something that's a little bit closer. So the least common multiple is going to be something that we can find relatively quickly. So the listing method, so the listing approach, again, only works for the least common multiple. So we're going to list them. So this is the listing method. So multiples of 9 would be 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90, 99, 108, so on and so on and so on. The multiples of 12, 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, 108, and so on and so on and so on. So again, greatest common factor, greatest common multiple doesn't exist. It's going to be way out here. There's tons of them, but we're looking for the least. The least is here, the key word between these two. So we've got several multiple common multiples, I should say. So we have 36 is one of them. We have 72 is another one. We have 108. So already here we have 3 common multiples, but the least of all 3 is 36. So the least common multiple equals 36. Now, that's the listing method. The other method is doing the prime factorization, and then we're going to use the prime factorization and develop a Venn diagram to find the least common multiple. Now, you might find the second method a little bit harder to do, but the good thing about the second method, about what I'm about to show you, is it kills 2 birds with 1 stone instead of just doing the listing method. And sometimes the listing method is good for smaller numbers, but what happens when you have a 30 and a 45, or a 30 and a 55? Something bigger. So that's much more difficult to do. So let's do the prime factorization method. And the Venn diagram. So the prime factorization is kind of like a tree. You start with 9, start out with 12. What 2 numbers, what 2 factors create 9? 3 times 3. And since they're prime numbers, which cannot be divided by itself or by any other number except by itself or by 1. So 3 is prime. 12, same thing. You've got 3 times 4. Now 3 is a prime number, but 4 is composite. You still can break down the 4 to 2 times 2. Once you get to a prime number, that's when you stop. Okay. So that's the first step. That's the prime factorization. And then what you do is you create a Venn diagram. Okay. This bubble here, this circle represents 9. This circle here represents 12. So what we want to do is we want to find out, what do they both have in common? What factors do they have in common? That goes here. Okay, these are shared factors. Okay, this is what's going to be different between the two. So this has 3, this has a 3. So the 3 is going to go in the middle because that's what they have in common. This only has 1 3. It does not have 2 3s like the 9 does. So the 9 is just going to be 3 times 3. Again, 3 is in that circle, so 3 times 3 is 9. So this is the 9 circle. The 12 is made up of 3 times 2 times 2. This does not have any 2's at all. So these 2's here, these two 2's are going to occur right here. So 2 times 2. Okay. So again, 3 times 3 is 9, and then 3 times 2 times 2 is 12. So this is the 12 circle. All right. Now, the cool thing about this is the shared factors. Sometimes there's more than one number in the middle, and what you would do is multiply those factors, those numbers inside what's shared. Since there's no other number, just but 3, that's going to be your greatest common factor. Okay, that's the one bird that we're talking about getting rid of, is this bird, the greatest common factor. The least common multiple, which is what we came to find, is going to be all the numbers being multiplied together. So the least common multiple equals 3 times 3 times 2 times 2. So you multiply all of them. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, 18 times 2 is 36. So that's going to be your least common multiple. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's do another one. Let's do one that's a little bit more difficult to do. But I'm just going to show you the second one because to do the listing method on that one would take a while, and this needs to be a short video. All right, so let's say I do the second way between, let's do a kind of a difficult number. Let's say the least common multiple of 72 and let's say 50. 72 and 50. Okay. Think about multiples of 72, right? They would go on for a while. Multiples of 50 would go on for a while until we can find something that's shared between the two. So the best thing to do, again, prime factorization. So what two numbers create 72? 8 and 9. Keep breaking it down until we get to our prime numbers. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, but basically you have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. For 50, you got 5 times 10, 2 times 5, prime number, prime number, prime number. Okay, what do they have in common? Well, they got 1, 2 in common. That's it, just 1, 2. So you're going to put the 1, 2 in the middle. The 2 5s for 50 is going to go right here. The 2 of the 2's and the 2 of the 3's are going to go right here. So 2 2's and 3 3. Okay? And then you have the other 2, obviously, which we already counted. That's what's shared. And then what you're going to do is you're going to multiply all those numbers together. The greatest common factor between the two is 2. That's a small number for the greatest common factor, but that's the biggest number that can go into 72 and 50. That's shared between the two. Now, greatest common factor might be 2, but what's the least common multiple? The least common multiple in this situation is going to be all these numbers multiplied together. So it's 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 2 times 5 times 5. Multiply them all together, and you're done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 2 at a time, make things a little bit easier. So this is 4, 9, 10, and then 10 times 5, it's going to be 50. 50 times 4, 200. 200 times 9, 1800. 1800. So the least common multiple is 1800. You can imagine if we did the listing method, we would be doing that for a while. The multiples of 72 would take a while to get to 1800. Okay? Quite a bit. I believe 25 numbers in, and it'll get to 1800. All right, hopefully that helps. Again, this is least common multiple, greatest common factor. This, again, is the 6th grade standard. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to email me and let me know, and I'll be happy to do another video. God bless, and stay safe. Bye-bye.